Alright, what the fuck is up, guys? It's XTR. We're back to the basics once again with my, probably poor mic quality, and I'm hopped up on an energy drink at like 5 a.m. So, we're back to the basics with the channel. I'm tired as shit, like usual, but I'm bringing you a brand new Valorant guide. And this one, we're going to be talking about the Vandal or Phantom debate. My personal opinion on it, because so many of you want to fucking know for some reason. I'm not the guru of Valorant. I'm not some goddamn genius. I just play the game, and I usually know what the fuck I'm talking about. But I will give my opinion here, and I'm also going to give some training examples and how you can actually learn how to properly use this weapon. So the Vandal has some advantages over the Phantom, and the main advantages are being the range advantage, and basically just how accurate it is when you're bursting and tapping with it. Now personally, the Phantom is, yes, it fires faster, but it is not a one-hit headshot. Everyone knows this, right? That's the main distinction between the two. The Phantom is faster, and it's better at closer ranges. Everyone really knows that. The Vandal is good for long ranges, but a lot of people find it very hard to use and very difficult. One more thing with the Phantom is the Phantom actually does not have tracers when you are shooting it. At least that's what it says. I don't really know if this is true, but that's what the fuck it says in the buy menu, so I don't know why they would lie about that. But that's what it says, so that could be a potential advantage to it. But the Phantom is much better at close range engagements, and what I mean by that is if you are playing CT side, it's very good to have a Phantom, because you are going to be in a lot of those close range engagements. I know Shroud said this. I'm not copying Shroud. Don't think I'm copying Shroud, because I have a different take on it. My take on it is, whatever you feel like using, fucking use it, dude. If you aren't feeling good with the Vandal, then don't use it. But I highly recommend that you get good with the Vandal so you can use it. Now, I will use the Vandal on CT side very often. It all depends, and trust me on this, it is always going to depend on which site you are playing. If I am playing A-Long on Haven, and I am holding that angle, I want a Vandal. I'm definitely going to want a Vandal with that engagement, right? There's almost no doubt that I'm going to be using a Vandal there, because I am taking that long range duel. But if I were to be playing short and I'm pushing up into short like every round, I'm going to want a Phantom, because there's a much higher chance that I run into a close range engagement there. So it all comes down to the odds of you running into a certain engagement. If you think you're going to be in more short range engagements, choose the Phantom. And this is me speaking if you are comfortable with both weapons. If you are going to be taking a lot more close engagements that round, if you believe you are, like you have predictive powers of a fucking genius, then use the Phantom. But if you think you are going to be taking a lot more longer range duels in that round, in any given round that you are playing, then choose the Vandal for that round, right? Now, the big thing, the big difference between the Vandal and Phantom, other than the one-hit headshot, is the Vandal spray is wildly inconsistent in comparison to the Phantom spray. The Phantom spray feels more consistent, but I will say this right now. The Vandal and the Phantom, the spraying is going to suck no matter what. Like, you can spray and you can control it to a certain extent, but you cannot get perfect with it. The Riot devs have made it very clear for us that they don't want spraying to be like extremely effective at all ranges. They want tapping and bursting to shine in some situations as well, which I think is fucking stupid. First off, I think that's dumb as shit, and it removes a lot of skill-based aspects to the game, like learning spray patterns and whatnot. But that's just a CSGO player ranting about a new game, so take that as you will. But spraying is going to be less viable at longer ranges, so you definitely want to learn how to burst and tap. Now, there are three ways to shoot with the Vandal. There's tapping, there's bursting, there's spraying. Tapping is the best at very long ranges and when holding angles, and bursting is very good at medium to long ranges. Don't tap at like short to medium range, right? You're gonna want to be bursting at short to medium range. At long range, it's really the distinction. If you think you can hit the tap, go for the tap. But if you don't think you can hit taps, then go for bursts. Now, with that also comes, you need to know how to hold angles properly, and you need to have good crosshair placement. If you don't have good crosshair placement with the Vandal, you're basically using a worse Phantom, because, let's be honest, right? You have the lower fire rate, and you're not utilizing that one-hit headshot. So make sure your crosshair placement and where you are pre-aiming is on point. You want to make sure you are utilizing to the maximum extent possible the actual efficacy of the Vandal. You want to be using that Vandal's power to its fullest potential. Don't use the Vandal as a Phantom. It's not a Phantom. It's a completely different weapon. It shoots different, it feels different, and it behaves completely different. So treat it as such. So understand that there's bursting, tapping, and spraying. Understand the distinction and try your best to get very good crosshair placement and pre-aiming. Now, practice as you see on screen, where you are just kind of holding an angle, is very good practice for using the Vandal, because a lot of the times you want to have your crosshair where your enemy will walk into it, especially when you're using a Vandal. With the Phantom, yes, but not as much, because the Vandal has such a huge advantage when you're holding angles, just solely for the fact that you can one-hit headshot people. So very quickly, I'm going to tell you how to actually effectively practice using this weapon. Now, for tapping, you want to practice holding angles, whether it be in deathmatch, whether it be in the practice range. And the best way to do this in practice range is set the bots to strafe, hold an angle, and when they strafe into your crosshair, fucking shoot them in the head. Now for other practice, tapping, bursting, you want to be doing the micro flicks or the horizontal flicks that I kind of showed off in my first aim routine, and just practice tapping, right? Get good with tapping. Do that with bursting as well. Those are like the three main ways to actually get good with these. Obviously, you can create like an off angle with Sage where only their head is exposed and you can practice that way. I will say tapping is mainly effective at long ranges and when only their head is exposed. You don't want to be bursting when only their head is exposed. You want to be tapping in that situation. So go ahead and do that in the practice range. Very simple, but honestly, the best practice is definitely going to come from Deathmatch. So I'm going to hop in Deathmatch and I'm going to kind of talk a little bit about what you should be trying to do and the areas you should be trying to improve on when you are working on your Vandal in Deathmatch. Now, very quickly, before we get started with the Deathmatch portion of this, I want to point out to you guys that movement is very key when learning how to use the Vandal. Because you want to be strafing a lot when you're going for these tap shots. Like, obviously tap a couple times, and if you don't land the tap, and you're planning on tapping more, you need to learn how to actually properly strafe. So I'm not going to talk about strafing in this video because a lot of the mechanical aspects of the game I can't really kind of put into words, like especially strafing and like me trying to explain, you know, stopping yourself with one key, you know, starting up your movement and all that shit. That shit is just like, I understand it obviously, but it's hard for me to put into words because it's just something I've been doing for so long that it's hard for me to actually verbalize. So I'm not going to explain it, but I will have videos in the description that will have very good explanations on it. So I recommend you guys go check those out. Now, they're probably going to be a Counter-Strike video, but it will help nonetheless. So let's get started. So in Deathmatch, what you really want to be focusing on is going for those taps and going for those bursts. Obviously, like I've been talking about and harping on for the last, like, I don't know, 5 or 6 minutes, right? Tapping and bursting is your bread and butter with the Vandal. So you want to be very focused on holding angles and actually learning how to tap and burst. You need to practice staying calm when you are taking these engagements because that will help you a lot in game. Now, the key to Deathmatch is not getting nervous, just playing the game, understanding that no matter what you do, the entire reason you are doing it is to get better and not to win the Deathmatch. Don't play the Deathmatch to win, play it to improve your aim. Put yourself in positions that are hard to win so you can win them and see that you're capable of winning them, right? So practice going for all these different types of engagements that you will see yourself taking in the game, whether it be wide swinging out mid, going for taps, whether it be, you know, shoulder peeking people and going for gunfights that way, whether it be spraying and spray transfers. Use your deathmatch practice effectively, right? Effectively deathmatch train. Keep your mind cool. Maybe listen to some music. Don't blare it. You still need to focus on what's going on. It's very important because a lot of people like to say that when you're playing deathmatch, you know, just turn on some music. Don't even think about the deathmatch. No, you're not getting good practice doing that. You need to be engaged actively on what you are doing at the given moment. Like if you are playing deathmatch, you need to be focused on the deathmatch at hand, but not completely focused, right? Like you don't want it to take the forefront of your mind, but you don't want it at the same time to take a back seat while you were just listening to music fragging the fuck out, right? So focus on what you were doing and focus on taking these certain duels. So hopefully that cleared it up. I know a lot of you guys had this question. If you have any more questions, I am really happy to answer them in the comments because I know this may have been a somewhat scuffed kind of interpretation of the Phantom versus Vandal debate, but I tried my best to actually answer this in kind of a digestible form. But I don't know if it's going to come across as very easy to digest for some of you guys. So just let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I will try to reply to any serious questions that I have about the matter. So, have a good day.